if the Russians take Severodonetsk, it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory because there's not that much left of it. But it would be a blow to the Ukrainian morale, and it would just increase the growing humanitarian crisis.
What do we know about the fighting around, I'll give it another go, Severodonetsk?
Severodonetsk, well done. That's the city, in fact, where I was on February the 24th when the war began, and just before breakfast, the first shells started falling around there. And the people there, the defenders, have done a very impressive job. They've been under attack every day since then. And the Russians have intensified, as you've said, their attempts to capture the town. They've tried to go westwards in a disastrous attempt that we saw in pictures last week when satellite images showed a pontoon that had been thrown across a little river by the Russians, and they repeatedly tried to cross it despite Ukrainian artillery, which apparently killed hundreds of their soldiers and destroyed about 70 armored vehicles. The reason for that is that they're desperate to try to show that they've achieved something in these months of war, where thousands of Russians have died, and this fighting in Severodonetsk, which is in Luhansk province, and neighboring Donetsk province, is going to likely intensify over the coming weeks.
And there's one anonymous soldier quoted in the Times today saying that Ukrainian soldiers are retreating under the Russian advance. Is there evidence of that?
There's to and fro. Ukrainians have been pushed out of some of their positions in the east, the area where we're talking about. But then they've recaptured those positions and they've pushed Russians out of their positions. So it's a very fluid situation, and a lot depends on how soon new weapons, more powerful weapons promised by the UK and the US reach that area. It's to do with, I've been told by Ukrainian military, that they need that longer range artillery that the Americans will provide to enable them to advance under cover of artillery barrages that outdistance what the Russians can put back into the Ukrainian positions. So, it's a fight that's set to go on for, I think, weeks, if not months, in that area. But Severodonetsk is in a pretty dire position.
Well, as you say, you were there in February. What kind of place is it, and how much of the city is still standing?
It's a typical Soviet-era city, industrial city. It had coal mines, but it also had chemical industries, oil refineries, and it was linked by a bridge that was blown up over the weekend by the Russians to its sister city, another industrial city about 7 miles away, which is also still being defended by Ukrainians and which the Russians are desperate to take. I wouldn't say that those were places that were pretty, but they're home to hundreds of thousands of people, and many of those homes have been leveled. In fact, hundreds of those buildings have been leveled. There have been hundreds of casualties, civilian casualties. We don't know the numbers for the military casualties, but they've been probably quite high as well. And in fact, as in Mariupol, which was leveled to a great extent by the Russians, if the Russians take Severodonetsk, it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory because there's not that much left of it. But it would be a blow to the Ukrainian morale, and it would just increase the growing humanitarian crisis, because it would just produce thousands and thousands of more refugees with no homes.